Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple.
In the blink of an eye, Cody Gakpo has gone from being United-bound to a confirmed Liverpool player, with the Reds sealing a deal for the Dutchman. And it is easy to see why they were so keen to secure the move, as over the last season and a half, he has scored 17 goals in 41 Eredivisie appearances, and piled on a further 25 assists in that time period, and is still only 23 years old. Add to that further impressive numbers in the Europa League and the World Cup, and the picture becomes even clearer. But what exactly will Gakpo bring to Liverpool? How could he potentially fit, and will he be a good signing, and what is my personal rating of this signing? In this video we'll take a look. Although Gakpo has all the traits of a positionally versatile forward, since the start of 21-22, 94% of his appearances have come on the left of a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. With the national team, however, Van Gaal uses wingbacks and no wingers, and he still wanted to find a way to play Gakpo, so he often played central, either behind the two forwards or as a forward himself. But his primary role is very much on the left-hand side, and one of Gakpo's strongest suits is his positional sense. Despite being comfortable in more central zones, when the ball is deep, he doesn't tend to wander central or even into the half space, instead looking to hold his width initially, as he is not the most involved in the build-up play, ranking fairly low for passes per game and pass completion for players in his position, as he is instead more concerned with finding the best way to be a goal threat, whether that's by scoring himself or assisting, as his numbers suggest. And when he does receive in 1-versus-1 situations, especially higher up, when his fullback is still deep, allowing this 1-versus-1 isolation, Gakpo is particularly dangerous. He may not be the most extravagant dribbler, but he is able to use subtle ball manipulations, body feints, and an explosive first step to get past his marker in 1-versus-1 situations, as he is fairly quick. One reason he is so effective with his dribbles is that despite not being too flashy, he is fairly unpredictable. This is firstly helped by the fact that he is fairly comfortable on both his left and right foot, although he is right-footed. That means when he faces his man up, he can cut inside onto his stronger right, but if the defender overcommits to covering this, he can then use his pace to drive down the line and get the cross in on his left foot. But even when he does come infield, it's not just about driving towards the goal so that he can score. Instead, he is a high-volume crosser, looking to find his forwards and on-rushing midfielders with flat, in-swinging crosses. His almost 9 crosses per game put him in the 96th percentile. But for a player who is not a forward, Gakpo's goal threat pops. From this left-hand side position, it's not just about crossing, as particularly when he has space to run into, he attacks the box whenever possible. And when he does go down the line, although he can cross, he is still a goal threat, as he is able to strike the ball cleanly enough with his left foot to find the bottom corner across the keeper. But he is also just as adept at cutting in onto his stronger foot, with a curled finish into the bottom right being his preferred choice. Crucially, he generally takes his shots from high percentage areas rather than speculative long shots, with his average shot distance being inside the box, meaning he has a decent XG per shot. But Gakpo's movement and tactical intelligence are also two strong traits. His relationship with his left back, Philip Max at PSV, is often symbiotic. So we can see Gakpo drift infield, using his movement to drag in defenders and create a path for Max to receive on the outside for the cross, whilst allowing Gakpo to operate in these central zones. Crucially, Gakpo is adept at finding spaces between the lines to initially receive, and he does often receive progressive passes. But when Gakpo plays through the center, despite his frame, he has yet to show that he can lead the line alone, either having to play in behind a forward or two, or at the very least having a strike partner. This is because having his back to goal to hold up the play is not his preference, and instead when in these positions will look to use combination play with his partner to create space to run in behind. So how exactly will he fit into this Liverpool side? Well, he comes into a pretty stacked forward line, with multiple options capable of playing on the left, before even considering the likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain and Harvey Elliott. In the short term, if Klopp uses his preferred 4-3-3, the solution is obvious, as Gakpo can be a left winger, but this choice is only made easier at the moment because both Diaz and Jota are injured. This will be the ideal short-term solution, with Gakpo's ability to drift infield complementing Robertson's bombing runs down the outside. But when Diaz returns, Liverpool now have the option of also starting Gakpo as a solo forward. But as discussed, Gakpo needs forward partners. but with Trent and Robertson capable of providing all the width, Salah and a left winger, be it Diaz, Jota, or even Núñez at times, can attack the centre much earlier, allowing Gakpo to drop into midfield earlier to begin the combinations. Alternatively, Klopp has at times played a dedicated 4-4-2 this season, and Gakpo could start up front or out wide and having the license to move infield even earlier to support the forwards. Klopp has also used the 4-2-3-1, and besides playing on the left, another obvious solution would be playing Gakpo in behind the forward. It's an interesting prospect, but odds are, although Gakpo will contribute immediately, he is also a future investment, as the likes of Salah and Firmino will eventually age out, at which point a front line of Gakpo, Núñez, Jota and Diaz may well all be coming into their prime. So Liverpool have managed to sign a quality player who has the potential to explode further, and at the same time have paid well under his market value somehow. The only potential problem with Gakpo is his tactical fit for the next couple of seasons. But where do you disagree with the ratings? Comment down below.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you might enjoy the content available on my Patreon. Not only does Patreon help to support the continued production of content, as I am a one-man team, but it also gives you early access to videos that will come on the channel. You'll also get exclusive videos, get to vote on polls, and so much more. And it's cheaper than ever, no longer having a tier system, so everyone on the Patreon gets access to all the content. So head over to patreon.com/footballmadesimple to check it out.
But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.